Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today we're looking at Shores of Tripoli, which is a 1 versus 1 card-driven war game where the early United States is going against Tripoli and trying to stop them from basically sending pirates out to capture their merchant vessels. But besides the 1 versus 1 play, it also has a solo mode where you have to control the US and go against Tripoli. So I'm going to do a full play of that and show you how it works. And if you like what you see here on the One Stop Co-op Shop, please subscribe. Check out our other channel, One Stop Co-op Shop Streamed, for live content. Listen to our podcast every week, and consider supporting us on Patreon for early access to our videos and lots of other cool perks. And quick disclaimer, I was sent a review copy of this one. So first, to give you a quick overview of the game, this is a very long board. You're only seeing half of it right now, but the majority of the action takes place around Tripoli, so we're not going to miss too much if we stay here. So there are a few different types of spaces on the board. First, you've got these big circles, which are harbors, and they can house both land units, but only in the case of these 4 spaces here: Alexandria, Dern, Benghazi, and Tripoli. And they can also hold figures representing the fleets of both sides. Red representing Tripoli, and their main units are these little corsairs. And then some harbors also have these patrol zones, where you can go and try to stop the corsairs from raiding your merchant vessels. You've got these supply boxes that just hold all the potential units for both sides. And then showing you the other half of the board, Gibraltar was controlled by the British, so you can coexist in that harbor. You've got a few corsairs here, plus 3 frigates. And these 3 orange harbors are potential allies of Tripoli that can bring corsairs into play, but they start at peace with the US. And finally, very important, you've got a track, which will take us kind of into the overview of gameplay. This game is played over the course of 6 years, and each year has 4 little turns or rounds: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Both sides have their own unique deck, and at the beginning of each year, they'll be drawing some cards. Well, the human players will, the AI won't. And they'll alternate taking actions, the US always going first, in spring, then summer, then fall, then winter. And generally in those times, you can play a single card. You can either play the cards for the event on the card, or you can discard a card for one of the 2 basic actions. For the US, that means moving 2 of your frigates to any other place, a patrol zone or a harbor. Or you can discard a card to build a gunboat in Malta, which will be a sort of supporting vessel to help out your frigates. Meanwhile, Tripoli's 2 basic actions are to raid with their corsairs in Tripoli, trying to capture the wealth and merchants of the US, or to build a new corsair in Tripoli. And I mentioned the US can move their frigates anywhere. They can go right into a harbor and try to attack the units there, or bombard the land units in one of the harbors if there are no ships to protect them. Or they can go to patrol zones, and that gives them a chance to stop the corsairs when they try to go raid. But the AI works a little bit differently. They never have a hand of cards. Instead, whenever it's their turn, they'll first check their events. They start with 4 each time you play the game from their deck, and they'll see in order if they count for being triggered. And how do you know if you trigger it? You check the little guide on the back of the rulebook, and they tell you for each card what has to happen before it will take place. Now, if they can't do any of their events, they'll check if they have 5 corsairs in Tripoli. If they do, they'll try to raid with them. But if they fail all of those things, don't have 5 corsairs and couldn't do any of these, that's when they actually draw a random card from their deck. And again, you check the back of the rulebook to see what the effect is. Often it'll have them do the basic action of raiding or building. They'll raid if there aren't too many frigates to stop them, or build a new corsair if there are. They also have these 6 combat cards that are in the US deck randomly, but here to always start in their supply ready to go. And those, like the events, are played automatically when certain things take place. And just a few more things to note before we get into the playthrough. The US also has 3 core cards: Thomas Jefferson, Swedish Frigates Arrive, and Hamet's Army Created. These are always available to them to play on their turn instead of playing a card from their hand. Although some of them also have requirements, like you can't play this one until spring of the year 1804. Additionally, very important, the US has these 12 gold coins, and as corsairs successfully raid, the corsairs will take this away. If Tripoli ever takes all of the gold from the US, then the US sues for peace and gives up and loses. And similarly, if Tripoli destroys 4 of the US frigates, it takes away their will to fight, and they also lose. Whereas the US has 2 main paths to victory. First of all, if they can raise Hamet's army and then have him go through all these cities and take Tripoli, they win by installing him on the throne. He was the brother of the ruler at the time. Or alternatively, if they've had some success and have a bunch of other things in line, they can force Tripoli to sign a peace treaty. But if neither side wins by the end of the game, winter of 1806, after that turn, then it's considered a draw. So let's jump into it. The US starts by drawing 6 cards for their starting hand. Looking at what we got, a pretty solid normal one, naval movement. I can move up to 4 American frigates. And remember, usually you can only use 2 by discarding a card, so that's pretty nice. Oh, I got 2 of those. Oh, this is a very powerful one. I love getting this one early. Congress authorizes action. I can place 2 American frigates on the following year of the year turn track. And I forgot to show this. I start with 3 frigates on 1802, 03, and 04. Each time the year advances to those spaces, I get them for free in Gibraltar. But this would give me 2 more next year, which is huge. And wow, geez, another naval movement? Okay. Okay, then I've got Launch the Intrepid, which I can play to have a chance of sinking some of Tripoli's boats. And finally, this is one of the cards to end the game, which is clearly useless to me right now. I don't need it until 1805 or later, but that means I can discard it for another effect. Now, what do I want to do at the beginning of the game? I have a few choices. First of all, the very first event Tripoli wants to play is to help these 2 Corsairs break out and join their friends in Tripoli. To stop that, I have to get at least 1 frigate in the patrol zone to make them wary of running away. But additionally, all those Corsairs are going to raid and try to steal my gold, so I want to get as many frigates as I can into the patrol zone of Tripoli to stop that. So that being the case, I'm glad I got at least 1 of these. 3 is even better. I'm going to play Naval Movement for its event. And some events you probably saw had red X's, which means they're discarded from the entire game after you use them. This just goes into the regular discard pile and will show up later again. And I'll take all 3 of my frigates. I'll get 1 to stop those guys from leaving. And put the other 2 in Tripoli. Okay, now since this is the first Tripoli turn, let's go over these 4 events they're trying to play. So this first one, Murad Reyes breaks out. That again is how they're going to get those 2 Corsairs to Tripoli from Gibraltar. They'll either play it if I don't have a frigate stopping them, which clearly I do, or barring that, they'll play it in the winter of 1801 no matter what, but I'll get a chance to shoot at them before they get away. Constantinople sends aid. They'll play automatically once their first city harbor has fallen, because I can raise up some land troops and have them move over. They'll play this card, Yusuf, if at least 2 of their allies are active, and basically just do a huge raid with all of them. And finally, Sweden pays tribute as an interesting counterpoint to one of my always available cards, which is Swedish Frigates Arrive. I can play that on one of my future turns to get to these 2 Swedish frigates, my allies, to patrol against Corsairs. They won't fight with me in any other way, they just hang out here. But if I do that, the Tripoli bot will play this card in 1803 to get rid of both of them, and force Sweden to pay tribute, taking 2 of my gold. So I might need to do it just to get more frigates there to help patrol, but I am losing some gold later on as a cost. But with me covering their Corsairs in Gibraltar for now, none of those are going to apply. And since they've got 5 Corsairs, they're going to do their 5 Corsair check. If they have 5 or more, they're going to raid. And a lot of this stuff in this game is resolved using d6 dice. And generally speaking, for anything they're doing, frigates roll 2 dice and Corsairs roll 1. In this case, I'm going to shoot at them as they go out raiding. I get 2 dice per frigate, and any 6s I roll will destroy one of their Corsairs before they raid. So 2 frigates, 4 dice. Ooh, that was an awesome roll. Okay, I got 2 of them. And those go back to the supply where they can be built again. Now, any Corsairs I missed get to go out and raid my merchants. They each roll a die, and they're looking for a 5 or 6, which is one of the only times in the game 5s give you anything. And they rolled really well, too. They got 2. And that means they take semi-permanently 2 of my gold coins, 2 out of 12. So they're 1/6 of the way to forcing the game to end. Although having taken out 2 of their boats, I think they won't try that again anytime soon. All right, now we go into summer. So I certainly want to play Congress authorizes action at some point this turn. But for now, I don't want them to break out again immediately. I think I am going to play Swedish Frigates Arrive. It's removed from the game. And I get my buddies to help me out for a while. All right, looking at the AI, they still can't do any of their events, and this time they don't have 5 Corsairs, so they are going to draw their first card from their deck. Okay, and this one is Tunisian Corsairs Raid. These are cards that would let them raid from specific harbors if they had gotten those allies in play. But in the case of the AI, it always just triggers their basic raid or build action. And their check to see if they'll raid with the basic action is they need to have at least 3 Corsairs, which they do, and they have to exceed the number of frigates patrolling them. So thankfully, with my Swedish frigates, they won't do that yet. Instead, they'll rebuild one of the Corsairs they lost, so they would do that again next time. Then they'd have 5, and they would want to raid again. All right, for my third action in the fall, to set up for next turn, I am going to play Congress Authorizes Action. It's removed from the game. But now that gives me 2 more frigates in 1802, so I'll have 3, doubling my forces next year. And the AI doesn't have 5 Corsairs to trigger the auto raid. So instead, they got another raid card. And again, they don't exceed the number of frigates, so they're back up to 5. Okay, going into winter, don't forget, this guy's going to try to break out no matter what I do, so I could actually move the frigate over here, Or it could move more frigates back and try to blast those guys. That might be worth it. But you know what I actually want to do instead? I'm going to discard this treaty card, because I don't need that until the end of the game, and you will get all the discards back at some point. I'm going to build my first gunboat to prep for attacking more later on. Now, gunboats can't be in patrol zones, so they never help to stop raiding, but they can go to harbors to attack ships and bombard troops along with your frigates. And they can do that for free whenever you move your frigates, so they're a nice little boost to your forces. Alright, and this time the AI does demand that they play their first always-on event, so this one gets removed from the game. And these two guys are going to break out of Gibraltar. My frigate will get a shot on them, but these ones won't. It's just the one that I left in that patrol zone. Like I said, frigates and basically everyone are always looking for 6s. It's really only the raiding that needs a 5. And kind of expectedly, nothing. So now Tripoli has this massive raiding force of 7 Corsairs. Not good at all. Okay, and with that we go into the next year, spring of 1802. All 3 of these guys pop up into Gibraltar's harbor, ready to be deployed. And you hang on to your cards from the previous year. In this case, I have 3 of them. But you draw 6 more. Now, your max hand size is 8, so I'm going to have to look at all these and discard one of them without playing it. Alright, so first, a battle card. These aren't played on your turn. They're kind of played in reaction to other actions to give you bonuses. In this case, if I start a battle in a harbor, each of my frigates will roll 3 dice instead of 2, which is certainly nice if I want to maybe attack all of those Corsairs. Okay, this one will get me more Arab infantry for my army, although I can't deploy that until 1804, so probably can discard that one. Oh, Corsairs confiscated. This would have been great if I'd gotten it last round. I could have taken out those 2 Corsairs just by playing the cards, but at this point it's basically worthless. Marine Sharpshooter is another battle card for a land battle, but again, not doing much for me this early on. And then yikes, I got 1 more naval movement, alright. Ooh, now this one I think I might play when they try to do a big raid in a second. Look, when I make an interception roll to try to stop them, each of my frigates will roll 3 dice instead of 2. So I'll have a chance to just blast these guys to smithereens. Definitely thinking about that one. So in terms of which card I'm going to discard since I'm over 8, I could hang on to it for when I recruit the army in 1804, but for now I'm going to discard this recruit card. Okay, no question of what I'm playing. I've got 4 frigates doing nothing right now, so let's play a naval movement to get all of them going. And I could send all 4 of them to Tripoli. I'll definitely send 3. But if I send one of them to Dern or Benghazi, I can bring the gunboat along and get some bombardment going, trying to soften these guys up before I get my land army later. I also, very importantly, do have to have a frigate in Alexandria before I can play that card to raise up the army in 1804. So no hurry on that yet, but just something to think about for later in the game. So yeah, let's try splitting up a bit, bring the gunboat, and do some bombardment there. Now, gunboats are a little just like the Corsairs. They also only roll 1 die, and bombardment is just like anything else. I'm going to roll 2 dice for the frigate, 1 for the gunboat, and for every 6 I roll on those 3 dice, I'll take out 1 of those troops. Oh, I got 1. That's awesome. Now, anytime you send boats to a harbor to do a sea battle or to bombard, they all go back to Malta afterwards. So your gunboats will always be in Malta by the end of the turn, and frigates that aren't in a patrol zone or hanging out in a harbor with nobody also go back there. Alright, the AI can't play Sweden paying tribute until 1803. I got those guys for 1 more year. So if you do the 5 Corsair check, and clearly 7 is way more than 5, so they are breaking out. But I'm going to play Lieutenant Sterrett in pursuit and try to smash them as they try. So normally with 5 American frigates and 2 Swedish frigates, I'd be rolling 14 dice. But the Sterrett card gives just the American frigates an extra die each. So that'll be 15, 17, 19. Wow. I had to borrow some of the dice in other colors for this one. All right, come on, show me those 6s. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. I mean, rolling 19 dice, that's about statistically average, so that's okay. So I take out 3 of the 7. But 4 of them still break through, looking for 5s and 6s. Oh, man, 2 again. So they've got 4 out of my 12. So that takes us to the summer. Let's see, what do I want to do? I could go into the harbor and try to take the fight to them, but I'll get a free shot at them anyway when they try to raid, so it doesn't seem to make much sense. I could launch the Intrepid to try to blow some of them up, but they'll later get frigates, which are really strong, and the chance to destroy one of them on a 5 or 6 is kind of too much to pass up. I mean, no, I'm silly. I realize I should have kept that recruiting card, because no reason to keep this Corsairs confiscated. That does literally nothing now. What I'm thinking instead is maybe building another gunboat, maybe even going for both of them this year, and then trying to bombard some more. So now I will discard the useless Corsairs confiscated, and build my second gunboat. Meanwhile, the AI is now below their special 5-ship threshold, so they're going to draw a card. Oh, wait a second, darn it. I forgot that some of the combat cards apply really early. So first of all, Happy Hunting they always use the first time they raid. It lets them get 3 additional dice. So let's just pretend we use that in that original raid at the beginning of the game and see how that goes. Okay, and they would have gotten 1 more coin. And then I also forgot, also on the first one they would have done this. Whenever they have a successful raid, they play Merchant Ship Converted, and it gets them an extra Corsair. So having that would have certainly changed the first year a bit. At this point, it's kind of too late to go back, but we can at least roll 1 extra die for when that guy would have raided the second time. And okay, he didn't do anything extra. But that does mean that after my gunboat build, their action for the summer will be to smash and raid again. Now, I don't have the 5 extra dice from last time, but still a pretty big number. Come on. Oh no, just a single one? This game could be over quickly if they raid me really hard here. Alright, so 4 ships breaking through. Okay, only a single one. Well, I say only, but that brings me down to 6 gold. And don't forget, the really painful part, at the beginning of next year, they're going to send home my Swedish frigates and take 2 gold from me. No! I think I'm still going to build my last gunboat. I'll discard my Marine Sharpshooters card to get it. Meanwhile, now that he's down to 4 Corsairs, he's going to draw a card. And Morocco declares war. No! I have to place 3 Moroccan Corsairs in their harbor. So these guys pop up to give me something else to worry about. And the big worry of this one is, even if they don't have enough Corsairs to raid over there, they can raid from here. Now, there are some cards probably coming in the deck next turn that can declare an instant peace just by, moving 1 frigate here. But I could alternatively move maybe 1 or 2 of my frigates and, my 3 gunboats over here and try to blast them. And the thing is, if I take 1 of these guys away, actually I could even take 3 of these guys away and really bring in some force. Because I'll still have 4 frigates of their 4 Corsairs, so the basic raid or build card won't let them go and raid with that. So yeah, let's try to put this rebellion down hard. And combat happens simultaneously, so I'll roll the 3 red dice for the 3 Corsairs, the 3 yellow for my gunboats, and the other 8. And we'll see what happens. You only get 1 round of combat, and then stuff is over no matter what. Oh man, only 1 taken out. Although that is enough to stop them from raiding, so that's actually not too bad. Now, they do 1 damage to me. Now, you assign your own hits. I could just blow up a gunboat and then have to build it again. But I can also damage 1 of my frigates, which means it automatically goes to the next year, so it gets repaired. But hey, the nice thing here is I'm literally in the winter, so I'm about to get it back in a second anyway. So I'll certainly damage my frigate and leave my gunboats intact. And then all these guys run back to Malta, but I have again cut them down to where they won't raid, basically for the rest of the game. Well, unless they get another one of these guys on their side, and then they'll play this card to raid with everybody. Alright, then finally the AI for their last card. So this is a raid card. You again ignore which place it says. And they don't have 3 or more Corsairs here. They don't have more than the number of frigates here. So they're just going to build a 5th one, but I gotta deal with that as soon as I can. Alright, with that we go into the spring of 1803. I get both of these guys back to Gibraltar. And I get another 6 cards. Oh, here's what I was looking for. Move 3 American frigates to the harbor of an active ally and return all Corsairs from the harbor to that supply. I'm not going to worry about it for Morocco, but if Algeria or Tunisia declares war, I can instantly shut them down before they get the chance to play their big card that'll bring everybody out. Okay, Sultan Tripoli is the other endgame card to attack Tripoli itself, so we don't need to worry about that yet. Our early deployment's actually interesting. We can take a frigate 1 year early, which would mean we would get this last one, although I don't know if I have time to do that. Okay, sending the Marines gets extra Marines when we attack Tripoli. Certainly don't need that. Marine battle card. And tribute paid is another card to get rid of all of their allies. But I have to pay them 2 gold coins in tribute. And you saw how close we are to losing by gold. So no. And I had 3 cards left over. So I think for now I'll get rid of Assault on Tripoli. I'm not going to do that until near the end of the game anyway. Now the one nice thing about them getting rid of my Swedish friends is that I'm free to do something this turn and I know they'll do it. So let's do one of these fun naval movement cards. But that was the last one in my hand. Let's definitely take these 2 guys. And we can get 2 more from Malta. And I think I'll send 3 of the 4 into Tripoli to make up for the Swedish ships leaving. But I'll go ahead and send the last one to Durn along with my 3 gunboats to get another attack there. And here we go, 5 dice. Ah, nothing. And they just retreat back. And now they have no choice but to play it. They're going to trash Sweden Pays Tribute from the game. They get 2 more gold. I'm down to 4 before they win. And my friends leave me, darn it. Alright, I need to get more people here. I want to use those frigates. I also want to keep on attacking. So in the summer, I'm going to discard Send in the Marines, which again is an endgame card. And since I'm just taking a basic action here, I'm going to move one frigate here to shore them up, and the other one with all of the gunboats to Dern again. Alright, come on, better luck! No! Okay, now they've got 5 Corsairs, so they're going to come out. Oh, I gotta get some of them or they might steal the last of my money. So I'm down to 12 dice now. I gotta get some hits here. Yes! Ooh, 3? Oh, that is great. Only 2 of them get through. Let's see how they do. Please don't get anything. God, they always take something. So I'm down to 3 gold before I automatically lose the game. As we go into fall. Alright, I'm definitely not going to get that frigate early, so let's play the early deployment. And I don't need nearly as many guys here for the moment, so let's send him and one of them to Dern again with 3 guys. They'll give me 7 dice this time. Come on. Nothing. No. Okay, and they're going to draw a card. Okay, it's a raid card, so they'll just build a 3rd Corsair. Okay, and finally for the winter, remember I need to have a boat in Alexandria to actually raise up the army. So let's discard tribute paid, because there's no way I'm going to be able to afford to give them 2 gold. And I'll get a basic move out of it. I'll send one of the frigates to Alexandria, and what the heck, try to bombard one more time. Okay, 5 dice. Ah, there we go, I got somebody. I mean, they're definitely way weakened, unless they get a bunch of extra troops. I should be able to take that one pretty easily, but then Benghazi's still strong. Alright, and the AI is drawing again. Now, speaking of Benghazi, they are adding 2 troops there. Great. Now, don't forget, there's 2 paths to victory. I can either conquer everything, or I can just conquer Dern, and then take out all of their allies and make them sue for peace, which looks like it might be the more likely outcome here. Alright, with that, we're going into 1804. I get my last frigate for now. And they also time it out so that you draw the last cards of your deck. So you'll always see all your cards by 1804. So let's see, the Daring Stephen Decatur. I can play with either the card Burn the Philadelphia or Launch the Intrepid. I roll 2 dice instead of 1 and keep the better result. Like, that's for the card that could destroy some of their boats, so that's cool. Oh, this is a great one. Bainbridge supplies intel. I can take any card from the discard pile and place it in my hand or play it immediately so I can get back a card. Oh, and yes! Haha, this is a great combo. Constantinople demands tribute. I can force them to give me back 2 gold. So, I don't know if I'll have time, but if I did both of these, I would get 4 of my gold back and be way away from the precipice of instant loss. Okay, I've got Burn the Philadelphia, kind of like the other one, to hurt some of their boats in Tripoli. Ooh, and General Eaton attacks Dern. I can move the army to Dern once I raise it this round, and then move some frigates there to bombard for free. And if I'm just trying to capture Dern and go for the peace treaty, that should make things pretty easy. But here's the card to attack Benghazi as well. Now let's pause for a second and look back at the peace treaty card. So I can play this to win if it's 1805 or later, the fall of 1805, that'd be halfway through the next year. If all of their allies are at peace, right now there's just the 2 boats in Tangiers. If Dern has been captured, I should be able to do that this turn. And if there are no frigates in the harbor of Tripoli, not the regular Corsairs, but their big frigate ships. So with that in mind, I think I have to keep Burn the Philadelphia and Stephen Decatur. That'll give me a chance to just blow up a frigate if they get one for free. And then I like getting gold back and Bainbridge. And I certainly need the Dern card. I'll get rid of the Benghazi card. I'm not planning to attack them. I definitely want to hold a show of force in case they get another war going on me. But I don't think I need the Marine boost. Dern should fall pretty easily. Yeah, but then I will keep this to attack better and launch the Intrepid. Okay, so I'll get rid of that guy. Okay, so first things first is one of my always-on cards, Hamet's Army Created. It is spring of 1804 or later. There is a frigate in Alexandria, so I get 1 Marine and 5 Arab infantry units in the city. So here we go, my modest little army, although with all of them and 3 frigates bombarding these people first with that other card, I should be able to take it, I think. Okay, and the AI does not have enough people to raid, so they'll draw a card. Troops to Tripoli, I am totally fine with that, because I'm not even planning to make that happen, so go ahead and take them. Okay, now, why waste time? Let's go ahead and have General Eaton attack Dern. Okay, so I get to move the army to Dern, and then I can move up to 3 frigates to the harbor. So I'll do that. I'll take all the frigates that aren't doing anything else, including the newly arrived one in Gibraltar. I'll bring my gunboats as well. But the AI does have a combat card ready for when I do that. Mercenaries desert. They play at the start of the land battle. They roll 1 die for each of my Arab infantry units, and for each 6, that person deserts me. So I've got 5 of them. Let's hope they don't take away too many. Ooh, now they didn't roll a 6 for once. Yes. So I only get a single round of bombardment, and then my ships go back to Malta. But the land battle will go until one of the sides is wiped out. You can't stop in the middle of it. Okay, so here's my bombardment. Let's try to make this easy for, Okay, I got 1. They only have 1 guy left. And our boats say bye. And now this I can just roll a bunch of simultaneous rounds. We've got one red die for them. And oh, there we go. Boom, done. So we have captured Dern, and we are now part of the way towards that first victory card we could do. And that'll also control what the AI does. Constantinople sends aid. They play as soon as Dern falls. They get one frigate in Tripoli. Remember, as long as that is around, it prevents us from winning the peace victory. They also get two more Corsairs and two more infantry. Boom! They just got beefed up. So going into the fall, I gotta get some more frigates in here because they are going to be coming out with all those Corsairs. Or maybe I should play Constantinople Demands Tribute and make sure they can't get a lucky win. Yeah, let's do that. So I get 2 gold back. I have 5 total. Much harder for them to get me now. But speaking of getting me, they've definitely got 5 Corsairs. They're going to attack. I've got 10 dice against them for my 5 frigates. Come on. Boom! 3! Yes, yes, yes. So only 2 of them get through in the raid, and neither of them steals anything. I feel much safer now. Okay, going into the winter. I have to destroy that frigate. I have to get those 2 guys left in Morocco. I could try one of my destruction cards, or I could just send in a ton of boats. And I could just try to blow up the frigate. Although if I only do 1 hit to it, they can put the rest on their Corsairs, and it'll just come back in 1805 right when I'm trying to play the peace card. I don't know if I can confidently roll 4 hits all at once. Let's see, I could try to burn them down, although Decatur is only a single use. Really, I might want to wait because the Philadelphia on a 3-4 will damage the frigate, which means it's on the following year and won't be available to hang out here anymore, and it won't stop me from playing the victory card. See, actually, you know what? I'm just going to discard something. What do I not need? I guess Preble's Boys Take Aim, giving me a combat bonus I can get rid of. And I'm going to use that just to do a basic 2 frigate move. I'm going to send both of these guys to try to clear out this one ally that's around. I'll bring the gunboats, of course. Alright, I've got a pretty good number of dice. Come on! Yes! 1, 2, that's enough! So they are back at peace. They have given up the fight for now. My dudes run back to Malta, but I'm very happy with that result. Okay, and then the AI is going to end their turn by drawing a card. Ooh, storms. This could be bad. They're going to play it on the zone that has the most of my boats. They roll 1 die for each frigate, so 5. The first 6 will just straight up sink one of them. Any additional 6s will just damage them, which means they would come back immediately to Gibraltar, so that wouldn't be too bad. So they got 1 of my boats for good. It is gone. And remember, one of their victory conditions is sinking 4 of my ships. I don't see that happening, but they definitely got 1. All right, now we go into 1805. And the big thing here is at the start of 1805, we shuffle our whole discard pile and draw 6 cards. And then at the start of 1806, we literally draw every card in our deck and then discard down to 8 cards. So you make sure you get the victory cards, for example. And what I draw here is actually really important because I think if I get the victory card, I could win this year. But if I don't, I have to survive until 1806. Oh, it's made for... Okay, I got that. Ascend the Marines, who cares? Marine Combat, who cares? Marine Sharpshooters, wow, lots of stuff I don't need. Moving a bunch of ships, and actually, tribute paid. Now that I have a little bit of gold to spend, that would help me if they get both their war cards soon to make sure the peace can still hold. Yes! So I had 5 cards left over, but that's fine. I'm going to take the 3 cards I actually want to use and put all 3 of the land battle cards in the discard pile. Okay, so I can't play this card to win until it's the fall, so we got to wait 2 months. All the cities are at peace. Dern is captured. I do have to destroy that frigate. Maybe let's start on that first. So I'm going to do the one that could just damage it, but has the better odds with Stephen Decatur. So on a 3-4, I'll damage it. On a 5-6, I will destroy it entirely, and he gives me 2 dice, and I pick which one I want. All right, a 5 or 6 would be awesome. Come on. Okay, that's fine. I'll take it. So this guy's damaged, and he's not there to prevent us playing our card. Now, by the way, some conditions change for the AI in 1805 as things get more desperate. For example, they'd play this card to do a Corsair raid if they had even 1 ally in play, but I took care of that. And the first time they raid, they're going to play this to make me discard one of my cards, which could take away my victory card. But good thing I have the guy who grabs a card from my discard pile, so I'm not scared about that. Guns of Tripoli will only help if I attack Tripoli, which I'm not going to. And this Uncharted Waters card is only played if they draw a very specific card. So I think I have a pretty good shot at victory here. Okay, so they're going to draw a card for the spring. Oh no! Philadelphia runs aground. So they can play this if I have a frigate patrolling Tripoli. Of course I do. And this is what they were waiting for that last combat card I mentioned. They're going to roll 2 dice instead of 1. Oh my gosh. No, 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 no! Look, if they get a 3-4, my frigate's just sunk. That's fine. But if they get a 5 or 6, they steal my frigate, and they have another one to prevent me from winning. No! All right, this is huge. If neither of these dice are 5 or 6, I think there's nothing that can stop me from winning this year. Yes, yes, yes! So my frigate is sunk. That means they have 2 out of 4 towards winning from that victory condition, but they didn't capture it. Whew! Okay, and we go into the summer. This is the last turn before I can play the card, and yeah, I mean, everything is good right now. They don't have a frigate. Dern is captured. There's no allies. See, I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure what I should do. I guess I might as well mobilize more of these guys. So here I got a naval movement. Why the heck not? Let's get all of our frigates in Tripoli, about to enforce the peace. Okay, and they get what will be their last card. Let's see what they can bring up. Second Storms. Oh, they're going to storm us again? I mean, that's fine, because even if they roll a 6 and blow up another one of my frigates, that'll be 3 out of 4 to win, not all 4. Come on. Oh my gosh. 3 6s. So they destroy a third frigate, and then 2 more are damaged coming back next year. That was a big storm. But, dun 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 dun, we go into the fall, and we play the Treaty of Peace and Amity. Is it fall of 1805 or later? Yes. Are all of their allies at peace? Yes. Has Dern been captured? Yes, it has. And there are no Tripolitan frigates in the harbor of Tripoli. The game ends in American victory. So man, I came super close to losing by gold. I was 1 frigate off from losing here. But the thing is, it made the most sense to pursue that victory condition because they got so many reinforcements. Like, if they had instead gotten their other ally cards, then maybe I would have gone for the push and the fight. But as it was, we managed to resolve things without further bloodshed. So that was the Shores of Tripoli, specifically the solo play. Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to hear my review on this one, click the link that just popped up. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.